Welcome to yet another anime review. Since this is October, I figure it would be the right point to be doing some monster films. Well, monster anime series. So we'll be starting with Dance and the Vampire Bund. Now I'm gonna be very honest with you. I despise most vampire media. Anything that really isn't the original Dracula and Nosferatu really has trouble holding my interests. And that's if they don't deserve my direct hatred. In fact, my fondness for vampire series is so low that Hellsing Ultimate was a hard sell for me. However, for a while, the manga for Dance and the Vampire Bund actually managed to keep my attention, which is a freaking miracle. My major disappointment, however, is that the things I liked in the manga do not appear in the anime. However, the anime starts cleverly. The first episode is a show within the show, which is a speculation piece on the existence of vampires. The question for this comes from a series of assaults where the victims have received bite marks on their neck, very similar to the standard fang marks. Evidence is brought in as the servants to the vampire lord come in and protest for the existence of vampires. They of course come in with their best goth apparel so that they can clearly be taken seriously, while the camera randomly cuts to this innocent little Romanian girl that just happens to be sitting there. Things go south very quickly as an actor brought in for the celebrity panel ends up being the vampire in question, who starts wrecking the place and showing his power off because he seriously doubts why the superior species should be hiding in the shadow from the little humans. It is at this time that the little Romanian girl reveals herself to be Mina Traps, the lord of all vampires, and then apparently dominates him into killing himself. For this argument, I pulled some players of White Wolf's Vampire the Masquerade and Vampire the Requiem. The general consensus seems to be that the chameleon guy, wreaking havoc as he was, did not do as much damage as the princess did by revealing all vampire kind. The chameleon's dead. Mina's still alive, and this should be a problem. It is, of course, never addressed. Instead, we head off to Akira, our designated male protagonist who looks like every other designated male protagonist. This is why Dance and the Vampire Bund has a little girl in lingerie on the cover, because no one would know what this series is if you posted a picture of Akira. So, he has a normal life. He has a girl who cares for her, an angsty backstory that is hidden up by a recent case of amnesia, close friends who are concerned for his well-being, and specifically the differences between how Akira has been acting after his head trauma and before. This is quickly shunted for the reintroduction of Mina as a childhood friend of Akira's. Well, no. That's not appropriate. Akira is more or less her pet. You see, that's one of those important things Akira forgot. That, he's from a family of werewolves who serve Mina as her personal guide, and she has a specific liking for him, and won't share with anyone. Especially that poor girl Yuri that's been taking care of him. Oh, and by the way, she's the founder and chairperson of that high school he's studying at. Considering this is a Catholic school, the student body president isn't particularly fond of the idea of the damned going there. Mina promises to let her into any university she wants, if she'll just not make a stink about this. Nanami, the student body president, having morals, declines this kind offer. Later that night she's attacked by vampires. Funny coincidence. This starts off the three-act structure of the series. The first act is Can We Trust Mina?, where all of Mina's trappings come together, And Akira, as an outsider to this entire thing, has to decide whether or not he can trust Mina. Covering up Nanami's disappearance, and then kidnapping the Prime Minister's grandchild to change his mind about creating the Bund as a sovereign state, really doesn't make a good case for her being a trustworthy individual. I don't really know if this is more of a case of her being a soulless vampire, or just being a freaking brat. I mean, she resorts to violence immediately after she gets shot down the first time. She always assumes that there's some dark villain behind everyone not liking her, instead of, the fact that she kidnaps small children and embraces them. And this is clearly all because the human is keeping the Batman down. You reap what you freaking sow, you silly little girl. This act comes at a head with Akira siding with the anti-vampire faction on campus, and holding up in the chapel against possible vampire attacks. Akira takes a quick trip to the Bund to stock up on supplies, like explosive anti-vampire rounds, and hopefully some snacks. While this is happening, the vampires freaking break into the chapel. The vampires enter a chapel which they, by sheer mythology, can't enter, and start raping and or embracing everyone in sight, leaving Yuri huddling in a corridor protected only by her plot armor. The leader of this group, who has been plotting for a while, brings out that poor Nanami girl and offers Yuri for her first sucking.
Multiple entendre.
That is until our Princess Mina jumps through the stained glass in her true form, which is of course a freaking Adonis of a woman. And it's only her that can take care of the enemy, which at least turns into a giant bat after everything. And then her support team comes in with all the vampire vaccinations. Hey, Princess? You want a little tip on how to be a good politician? One easy way to get goodwill between vampires and humans is freaking vampire morning after pills. People are afraid of vampires because they turn people into monsters, not because they kill them. But more importantly, I am so freaking pissed that in this series, a bunch of students, including one werewolf, in a chapel at a Catholic school, couldn't take care of some bloodsuckers. I can't even think of a proper simile to explain how much of an advantage they had. Holy water crosses, Bibles, pews that you can break off the stakes. You could just outright destroy them with no problem. But no. Princess Mina needs to come in with her extra super special vampire getup, which I can't even show you, and save the day for all the little humans who can't take care of themselves. We finally get to a freaking point where Kira starts asking questions of Mina, and she goes in and says that she's sorry about kidnapping the Prime Minister's grandson, and sorry about the Nanami thing because she really didn't do that. It was these villainous vampires that did it. But no. No, I don't accept apologies for conscious actions. You're not sorry that you did this. You're sorry that Akira got mad at you for it. Man, look at the time. This is going to have to be a two-parter because there's so much more rage I need to vent on this series.